Hello, this is a day one update on the sweet potato wine, not lime, wine. It's actually about 18 to 20 hours after I started the fermentation. It's looking good. We got all our bits up here still floating around the top. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but you get some bubble action going on. Fermentation is fermentating. I have found that the lids on these big mason jars don't seal as tight as you would a cork on a carboy. So, get my finger out in front of the camera. So I get a little bit escape of my whatever, of the carbon dioxide from around the lid, and the bubbler is fairly inactive. But as you can tell, the fermentation is going on and it's looking good. Hello and welcome to the day 2 section of this video. Our fermentation process is going quite nicely. We still got a lot of bubbling action going on, which is normal for the fermentation process. Part of today's section of the video is going to be about kind of a history. Sweet potatoes, like many other things, squash, pumpkins, and a few other plants, vegetables, fruits, stuff, are staples along the U.S. Gulf Coast, and all the way from Texas clear across to Florida. So making alcohol out of these things is a natural, logical progression. There's many things you can do with, say, for instance, this is sweet potato wine. You can make sweet potato pie, you can make sweet potato french fries, sweet potato chips, sweet potato, just about anything. So making an alcoholic beverage out of it is kind of a natural progression. We have it, it's cheap. In the antebellum South, sweet potatoes are what the poor ate. The rich, affluent people usually ate your white potatoes, where your sweet potatoes and yams are left for the poor. That's just part of how they're so rich in our culture, so rich. So many things that we've done with them is because poor people had to make do with what they had. The Depression era, same thing in the 1920s. It was just sweet potatoes will grow in just about any place with a little bit of dirt, a little bit of sunlight, a little bit of rain. What I do find interesting is that a lot of the recipes for your vegetable-based wines, especially in this part of the South, are passed down a matriarchal line. Grandmother to mother to daughter. In the modern age, I mean, more family members now, that especially now over the last probably 10-15 years that home brewing has become a thing. A lot of these recipes are coming out and being used by both men and women. But your fruit and some of your flour-based ones like dandelion wine, dewberry wine, peach wine stuff, those recipes were tended to be passed down a patriarchal line. That's just one of those things that there's probably a reason for it somewhere. I don't have the background nor the intelligence to actually research why. There's probably someone out there that will and can. So that about concludes day 2 of the fermentation of the sweet potato wine. Peace. Hello, this is day 3 of the fermentation of the sweet potato wine.
our bubbling is slowed down a little bit, but not bad. Should have about 4 more days, then we'll remove all this bit up here, and we'll rack this over, and I'll allow it to keep fermenting. The directions in the recipe that I received said let it set to it clears once you've removed this. So it looks like it's coming along pretty well. Like I said, we're 3 days into the fermentation, and I hope you guys are seeing a difference on the camera as I'm seeing, looking at it in real life. So till tomorrow. Peace. Hello and welcome to the day 4 video on the sweet potato wine. We're still cooking pretty well. Fermentation has slowed down a whole lot since yesterday. I will probably be removing this sooner than I anticipated because of the slowdown in the fermentation. There will be no day 5 portion of this video because I'm going to be out of town. So we're going to go from 4 to 6. That's probably when I will take all the floaty bits out of the top and rack the liquid over into another carboy. I may remove the floaty bits, then rack it over on day 7. I don't know yet. So it's smelling wonderful. You can smell there's definitely a fermentation. You definitely know there's fermentation going on. You can smell it. It smells wonderful. Though it is kind of a generic alcohol smell, but still, it's good. Still looking really forward for the finished product here in about 6 months. So, to the next excerpt part of this video. Peace. Hello and welcome to the day 6 video on our sweet potato wine. It is doing very well. It smells heavenly. I mean, it smells like a sweet potato pie fresh out of the oven. I mean, it's good. Tomorrow I'll be taking and racking it over, removing all the sediment, or as much of the sediment as I can, and as much of this stuff here as I can. Can't see it. Hold on a second. But I am going to try to use this valve here to pull the fermenting liquid from below it so I don't have to scoop it up, because every time you remove the lid and the longer it's off, you risk infection. You risk something getting into it and souring and messing up your brew. So until then, peace. Hello, and welcome to the day 7 video. Today we are going to be racking it. We tried a method that I used, that I talked about in the day 6 section of this video. So, and unfortunately, just because of angles and the way my kitchen's set up, when I put the sanitized carboy, actually technically it's just a big mason jar, on the floor, you won't be able to see it, and I apologize for that, but I will bring it back up when it's done doing its thing. So, go ahead and set this down here. And what I have here is I have a sanitized hose and funnel. And we're going to do this, stick the hose in here. Hopefully, maybe. You can't see it on the camera, but it's fighting me. Then what I have is the funnel. I'm not real worried about oxidation because I tend to over yeast my brews, and the extra yeast kind of helps as inoculant. Plus, this being wine and the bowl on the funnel isn't really that big, though oxidation is a concern. I'm really not that worried about it. So let's do this. We may have to switch over to a siphon. It's not, I think sediment, there it goes. No? Yeah. I think we have sediment blocking. I may have to switch over to a siphon and actually do this proper. So we will be back with the siphon and figure out how to go from there. Okay, we are back to using the racking cane. Once I got all the goop out of the top, seems like we're getting a good flow going. So what all the goop out of the top looks like. Got a little bit of liquid here. I think I'm going to try me another glass. Did get some raisins in it though. Looks real good. There's a couple raisins floating around there, some sweet potato bits. But you know, this is after 7 days of fermentation. Really good stuff. We're working at angles right now, and unfortunately a tripod in my house and getting angles is something of a trick. So we will go and let this do what it's doing and see you back when it gets done. Hello. We have finished racking everything over, and we got about 1.5 gallons. It's about 1.5 gallons of liquid for 1 gallon's worth of water. We lost probably about a ½ pound of liquid. Adjust the camera a little bit. When out of the honey. So, but overall, it's looking good. It's smelling good. It's going to probably take about 6 months for it to clear. I got me a little sample glass. This will be my 3rd sample glass. It smells heavenly. Like I said earlier, it smells like sweet potato pie straight out of the oven. My hydrometer reading gave me about 13% alcohol, right, within, the width of the line on the hydrometer. So I've got about 4% of my sugars in there floating around, giving some flavor. The potato flavor is really strong. It's still real cloudy. It's going to probably take 4 to 6 months for everything to clear out, and it'd be ready to bottle. So far, I think I have to call this a success. Cheers. Good stuff.